Hits 96.
Hits 96. We are Chattanooga's #1 hit music station. Gino D here with you. And right now, joining me via Zoom, the one and only Jake. Jake, what's going on, my friend?
What's up? How we doing?
We're doing really, really well. I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you again for taking some time this afternoon and talking with me. We're going to have some fun here. We want to talk about, obviously, new music, the song Golden Hour, your album coming out on Friday. Super exciting. This is what Blank feels like, volume 1 through 4. We'll get into that. But before we start digging into the album, let's kind of start from your very beginning. I know that you kind of have a little bit of a history with music. You kind of grew up with music, with your mom being a piano teacher, a music teacher of some sort. And it's kind of always been in your life. So let's start there and then reach into TikTok and how that all started for you. And then now here we are with an album coming out on Friday.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited. I start off with music pretty young. Like you said, my mom is an elementary school music teacher, and my dad's very musical as well. And so they always had me taking piano lessons. And then I got sick of piano. I was like, I want to learn drums. And so they let me take drums. And then I went to guitar. And so I just kind of gathered a base knowledge of all these different instruments. But I didn't really fall in love with music until I started listening to Kanye West when I was like 11 years old. And I was like, man, this is what music should be like. And it really inspired me. To the point where when I was 14, I started making beats. I started off with hip hop and then kind of moved into some more pop stuff. Now to the place where even on the album, you'll see like it's all sorts of different genres mixing together to a point where I don't even know what to call it. But yeah, and then I was making music for a number of years, just writing for other artists. And then I had a little moment on TikTok where I was posting videos, and then a song went viral. And I was like, all right, I guess we'll drop it. And then,
Sure.
Posting music. And then, kind of here we are.
Do you remember the very first song you ever wrote? Do you remember it?
It was a very long time ago. I was probably 9 years old,
Sure.
But it wasn't anything good from what I remember.
All right, fair enough. Sometimes it's always, some people remember that first song and are like, yeah, I mean, I still know all the lyrics today, or whatever the case may be. When it comes to your stardom, I guess we can call it, it did start on TikTok. You mentioned that. And it really started during the pandemic. You kind of actually used that time to your advantage and decided to drop music. And like you said, you got those followers started coming in, you start seeing the likes and all of that. And then you got your mom included in your TikToks. Was that the strategy, or did that kind of go happenstance? Did that just kind of happen for you?
Yeah, I think what really started it off was that I had tried out some different stuff, just fooling around on TikTok. And then I had a few videos go viral, and I realized like this is one of the most powerful marketing tools that's ever existed. And I realized that I could just, really get good at making content. And that way I would have a platform for my music to be heard. And so, it's always been about the music for me. But then I realized that like I can reach people if I, put my mind to it and create, interesting videos that tie in the song at the end. And really, it's kind of just a marketing strategy to get my music out there. But now it's very strategic. Like every video, there's a lot of thought put into each one, and we really try to put the song in the best light possible. But when it comes to making music, like that's my first love for sure.
Yeah, and that's obviously paying off for you. TikTok is an unbelievable platform. Lots of artists using it to get the word out there. Speaking of just your latest song, or the one that we're playing anyway, Golden Hour, #2 on the most added for US Top 40 radio, number 65 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 6 on the Billboard Emerging chart, 22 million streams, 600 million career streams for you. I mean, the numbers are massive. Are you one to follow the numbers, or you'd rather not know? How do you feel about that type of stuff when it comes to the stats of it all?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I started off, with TikTok, just seeing the views, and I started just getting really excited whenever I would make something that I thought was a good video, and then it would flop, and I'd be like, oh man, that feels terrible. And so I stopped really focusing on views, and I stopped kind of finding, like, man, I just need to focus on, making the best music and the best content possible. And if people receive it, then that's dope. But to me, yeah, I try not to put too much focus into the numbers, because then you start trying to do what people want you to do. And that's when the authenticity goes out the window. So I found just being, true to myself and not focusing on that, like that's how I really make the best music.
It's so true too, and I think that's one thing that TikTok has kind of exposed is the authenticity. You put it in a nice way. That polished look almost is not called for anymore when it comes down to it. They want the true. People want to see the true you in the videos, and I've even noticed that on the radio station front. We'll post up some random stuff from just an event. Those will get all types of likes and views, and then we'll try to do something a little more polished, and it doesn't hit for whatever reason. So it's interesting. TikTok is definitely an interesting platform to watch.
Absolutely.
When it comes to your songwriting, we can go back to that a little bit. What is your process like? I've talked to numerous artists. Everybody kind of approaches it differently. So I like to ask, are you more of a lyrics first music guy, music later, or vice versa? Or does it depend on the song?
Yeah, to me, it's very important that every element of the song is amazing. That's kind of before I became an artist. I just made it my mission to get as good at songwriting as I possibly could, because it is a skill, and nobody's really born with the experience that comes with writing 1,000 songs, which is around how much I've written. And so like over the years, I've tried all sorts of different tricks, to get better at lyrics and melodies. Now I'm at the place where I really try to make sure I have a great lyric to base it off of, and a concept for the song, and mostly just a feeling. That's what I focus on primarily, is like, how do I want the song to feel? And the melody and harmony always comes really naturally to me. And so if I have a good idea of where I want to go, then I just start to fill it in from there. But yeah, I tend recently to start with, an idea for what type of song I want to make, and then I just go from there.
And your songs have lots of feeling behind them, at least the ones that we're here for Golden Hour. This is what love feels like. I mean, we can go on and on. Do you consider yourself an emotional guy? Do you feel a lot? Are you one of like an empath, if you will?
Yeah, I definitely feel a lot. I don't show it, but I think that's why, I make music, is because it's definitely an outlet for me to express my feelings.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that because they're so powerful. The lyrics that you're singing and the songs, they definitely give you that feel, that vibe, if you will. That's the word I hear a lot nowadays. Is this is a vibe song? So you're definitely excelling that, and that's why I wanted to ask, just to see maybe that's the way that you do get out your emotions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, people go to music to feel better, and to feel something, and maybe feel understood. I think that, the lyrics play a big part in that, but I think the majority just comes from the overall emotion that's coming from the melodics. I think music is such an oddly powerful thing. And, that's what I want my music to be. I want people to go there to experience and feel, somebody gets me, and I'm feeling this through the music, but I've been feeling this in my life, and so it doesn't always have to be a happy song. Sometimes it's a sad song. Sometimes, it's just in the middle, like kind of chill. And, I try to make all sorts of different music.
And people will definitely see that on Friday when you release the album. This is what blank feels like, I think, is basically what we're going with here. And
Yeah.
volumes 1 through 4, and you've gone on record to say this is going to be your first and last album. Some people might find that hard to swallow. Explain that, and is that really the case?
Yeah. So it is the case that I won't be releasing conventional albums from this point out. I have a really cool idea, and we've been working on it, planning it for a long time. And, I wanted to announce that with my album release, that this was my first and last album, which, is a big deal, because you only get one shot if this is going to be your one and only album. And so I hope that people look back on this album and really appreciate all the effort that I put into it, because it's such a personal record for me. But yeah, I have some ideas that, I haven't shared like much of it yet. So
Okay.
I'm kind of waiting on it, but it's coming down the pipeline. And I think people are going to be happy with, the ideas that I'm coming with.
Excellent. And for this album that does drop on Friday, it's basically 4 stages. We can explain that a little bit. You get falling in love, the heartbreak, the sadness, and then falling out of love. Explain your direction, your vision for this whole entire thing that's coming out on Friday.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a book, and each song is a chapter in the book. So there's like 12 chapters, but it's broken up into like 4 different acts, like you were saying. And so the idea is basically it's the story of my first relationship, from start to finish, all of those different emotions that came along with it, all the way from falling into love to falling out of love, every range in between there. I think that a lot of people are trying to find love nowadays, and some people are just getting out of a relationship, just getting into a relationship, and I think a lot of people can relate to any stage in this. And if you've ever been through a full life cycle of a relationship, you could play it from top to bottom and just be like, yep, I get that, I feel that, I've experienced this before. And so that was really the idea. I wanted to make it a special story, and even with the lyrics and the storyline, people I think will catch on to how each song kind of picks up from where the last one left.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to hear the whole thing in its entirety, to be able to really go through that journey with you. And yes, definitely relatable. Which brings us to the song that we've recently added to our playlist, as I mentioned, Golden Hour. For those that haven't heard it, what is that song about in a quick synopsis?
Yeah, so that song is it's one of my favorite songs I've ever written, because I felt from the day that I released it, I knew that, even if it wasn't received well, I was happy that it was out in the world, and that, at least some people would maybe appreciate it, because it was one of my favorites. And yeah, now to see that, it took a little bit of time, but now people are catching on. And I was very happy to see the response, that people are ready for that sort of music. Yeah, I'm just pumped. But the song is really about just the feeling that you get when you're in love with somebody, and really it's just kind of the feeling that you get when you're looking at someone beautiful. It's like, you're really getting to know them, and you're seeing all their different beautiful parts of themselves, and you're just appreciating who they are. And all of the focus is on them and not yourself. And I think a lot of people are gravitating towards the song because it reminds them of how they feel about their significant other. And so yeah, I'm just really excited that people are appreciating it and seeing it for what it is, because I love it personally.
No, we all love it. It's very much being appreciated, and we're getting lots of positive feedback when we play the song on the radio, playing it during the day, and people are just thoroughly enjoying it. And I love the TikToks that you're doing. Obviously, TikTok a big part of what you do with your old piano teacher, and then one of your previous students, and seeing their reaction as you play the song. It's just awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
It's very cool. Speaking of new music and doing all of the things of that nature, not too long ago, Charlie Puth released a collaboration, if you will, a remix of one of your songs, Upside Down, right? And this was something that you kind of manifested. I think you said it in a previous interview, or you said, I'd love Charlie to work with Charlie. And then all of a sudden this collaboration happened, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I've always been a fan of Charlie, and it just so happened that, like, he had heard the song and he liked it, and he had heard it. It was kind of during quarantine, and yeah, he's one of my all-time heroes. And so to be able to work with him was definitely a big dream of mine. And so now that that's checked off the list, I guess the only other one is like Kanye West. So
Yeah, well, that was my next question, because we had Charlie on not too long ago as well, just like yourself here, joining me on Zoom and for the interview. And if that worked to manifest, is Kanye the next one? Is there any other dream collaborations that you would just love for that opportunity?
yeah, I mean, to me, I definitely want to work with Kanye at some point. I mean, I'm a really big hip hop fan. And so, people will hear that in my music, and I'll probably be releasing even more hip hop leaning music soon. But yeah, to me, like, anybody in that space like that I grew up listening to, I'd love to work with tons of different artists. So I'll definitely be, reaching out to some people. Hopefully they'll reach out to me. We'll see what happens.
All right, yeah, we'll keep that manifesting going, and hopefully that will pull off once again for you. That'd be cool to see. Performing. I know that you love to perform. I think I've read in previous articles and interviews with you that you were kind of new to the performing thing. A lot of your stuff was coming out during the pandemic, as we mentioned. So now you had that opportunity to hit the stage a few times. I know that there was a tour in the works that kind of got subsided for other reasons we don't need to get into. But is that something in the near future for you? Are you going to start going out there and doing more performances? You want to, at least?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to get out there and start performing. And, for me, I want to, show people what a tour would feel like from me. And, I haven't really had a creative moment where I sat down. I was like, okay, let me, think of all the dreams that I could possibly fit into one show and just make it a full experience. And so we got some stuff in the work. We haven't announced anything yet, but a lot of people have been asking me, like, when are you going to tour? And so yeah, we're definitely working on getting some dates and letting people know, because I would love to tour this album.
Oh, absolutely. Well, remember, Chattanooga, right in between Nashville and Atlanta. So we're just on the way. So by all means, if you get out there, you have a home here with us at Chattanooga. You can stop by anytime you'd like. And we'd love to see you perform some songs for us. That'd be amazing.
Absolutely.
Awesome, Jake. Thank you so much. Again, this is what Blank Feels Like, volumes 1 through 4. It's going to be dropping this Friday, September 23rd. Make sure that you pick that one up. Follow Jake on TikTok and social media. You do a nice job keeping everybody up to date on what's going on in your life. And we thank you for taking the time and talking with me today, Jake. Thanks so much.
Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on.
It's 90.